guys, it's Robin. I saw Solo, a Star Wars movie last night, and I'm so excited. I thought it was awesome. I'm so excited to talk about it. So, Solo, it is the backstory of Han Solo, how he literally became Han Solo, and how he met his, his BFF, Chewbacca, his other best friend, Lando, and the adventure that they go on. I thought it was really awesome. Alden Ehrenreich, I hope I'm saying that right, was really cool. Some people asked me about him already. I thought he did a great job. Those are some really big space boots to fill. Harrison Ford, I mean, but I thought Alden had like just the right look. He had the charisma. Definitely made a really cool baby Solo. I'm a little bit smitten with him. I thought he was really cute. And of course, you get to see how he met Chewbacca, the true bromance of the Star Wars saga, Han and Chewie. I mean, and that was so awesome. And I did not know this, but Han can speak Kashyyyk. Very cool. This is a really fun scene where they get to meet, and it's kind of a throwback. There's a lot of cool little Easter egg things. That meeting will remind you of another scene perhaps in Star Wars. So there's a lot of cool characters that we meet. Kira is one of the first ones who grew up with Han on Corellia. I think this is the first time we've seen Corellia in the movies. It might have been in the Clone Wars, but I really don't even think so. But it kind of reminds me of New Jersey, the really ugly industrial smelly parts of New Jersey, not the nice, pretty, beautiful parts. But sadly, we have some ugly space looking parts. Han was kind of like a street rat. He grew up in Corellia, and he gets out of there. And the way he gets out of there is he joins the Imperial Academy, and he is a pilot, and he's fighting for the Empire, but he's not too happy about it. So he joins a gang, which is filled with really cool characters. You have Woody Harrelson's really cool character, Beckett. There's Val, played by Tandy Newton, and Rio Durante, who is voiced by Jon Favreau. And he kind of reminds me of Rocket Raccoon. And he's kind of like a snarky space pilot dude, but not as nasty as Rocket can be. I was like, this guy is kind of like a Rocket ripoff. So they go on this really cool adventure, and they're on a mission to capture this stuff. I don't know what you call it. It's like fuel. It's one of the first times I think I've heard of it in the Star Wars universe, but it's stuff they use as fuel. And I'm not really sure why everyone is obsessed with this stuff in the movie, but they are. And this is where a lot of the references to like, they call this like a Western. And I think a lot of Star Wars is kind of like the whole Western feel to it. I think there's a lot of, Western references and things in Star Wars storytelling anyway. But there's definitely shot per shot of things like the legs and the blaster scenes and that kind of thing. There's a really cool heist scene in the movie that I thought was pretty exciting. And you just get to see Han and Chewie bonding over this whole thing, and I thought it was really cool, and the way that they are working together. Then enter Lando Calrissian. Now Donald Glover steals the show, I think. He is so cool. He has a really cool, is it L3, L7, L3, L7? His droid, who's his co-pilot, is kind of funny. There's kind of a weird relationship going on between the two of them, which is really also very funny. And it kind of fits the whole 70s vibe, I think, too, because this droid is kind of like an activist. There's definitely a whole 70s vibe going on with the feel and the costumes, which is appropriate since it's set before A New Hope, and A New Hope was set in, it came out 40 years ago in the 70s, which is also when I am from, the 70s. So Lando steals the show. I love getting to see his whole vibe in the, in his ship, and he cares about how his ship looks and how his clothes look, and he's got this awesome wardrobe, and his room is all set up so comfortably, and it's really cool to see the behind the scenes of Lando a little bit. I kept in my mind, I keep calling this movie Lando, even though it's really Solo, but I went into this knowing that I was gonna love Donald Glover, and I did. He's so awesome. I just love everything he does. He's such a great actor, performer, everything about him. He's great. And he really just brings that charm and charisma to Lando. And, we get to see Sabak being played. If you follow Star Wars Sabacc, it's just constantly referenced in the Star Wars books and stuff. So I think this is one of the first times we really see a Sabacc game. I wonder if they're going to come out with a board game version of this. And I'm sure fans have been playing Sabacc for years and made up their own rules. So it'd be interesting to have a real Lucasfilm endorsed version of that. And that was pretty cool. There's lots of cool aliens. There's cool robot, like this robot fighting scene going on. You can actually get pops of those two robots that are battling in this underground kind of world. This movie is set really in the underworld of Star Wars, which is very cool. You have a lot of crime lords and gangs and shady characters, which I really love. It's that just a lot of grittiness and, you know, weird looking characters. There's a scene where there's like it looks like a roast turkey singing. It's so weird. Just a lot of weirdness going on. That roasted turkey was in the scene in Dryden Voss's headquarters, by the way. Dryden Voss is one of the big underworld lords. Turns out there's someone in Han's life who is also affiliated now with Rising Dawn, and they get all entangled in this big caper. Another character I really love is Beckett, who is Woody Harrelson. He becomes kind of like Han's mentor. He's like his Obi-Wan, telling him things like, you know, don't trust anyone. You know, he's kind of like a precursor to Han Solo, but maybe not as charming. I don't know, but there a lot of Han's, you know, I'm in this for myself attitude. You can see it kind of in that character, and I think that's really interesting. He also teaches Chewie how to play that space chess game. So there's a reference to that. There's another cool little reference to something that comes back in Return of the Jedi. There's a scene. I don't want to spoil it, but it's just like a prop reference, and let me know if you saw it. I don't want to spoil too much, but there's just so much that happens. Lots of great action. We get to see the Kessel Run and figure out what that is finally. Not spoiling that. And I really love Emilia Clarke as Kira. She plays Daenerys Targaryen in Game of Thrones, so we know that she's just really good at playing this layered character, and Kira definitely is that. We meet her early on in the movie, and then 3 years later when she's part of the Syndicate, and we don't know what her role is exactly, and I don't know if we trust her or not, and it's very interesting to see what happens with her, and I'm curious what's going to happen with her later on. I'm very, very interested in knowing how she got where she is. There are a lot of nods visually maybe to some of the other movies. Like there's a really cool scene where Han and Chewie first see the Falcon, and it reminds me a lot of when they, in Force Awakens, they're like, we're home, and there's cool moments like that. But there's not a lot of like winky winky cameos and stuff like in Rogue One. There is one huge cameo that I'm not going to spoil, and if you're confused about that, you can ask me. I can explain it to you why there is this cameo. Send me a message or something. I will say that if you want to know more about the crime syndicates and all those things that are happening, this stuff is right out of the Clone Wars series. I think season 5, I'll put in what season it is right here, but there's a lot of stuff that happens in Clone Wars that kind of builds up and comes back in this movie. And as a fan, I think that is a really cool payoff for someone who's, you know, stuck with Star Wars all these years and really followed everything. I love how that's all tied together, and this is doing it in a really big way leading up to that big cameo. That's all I'm gonna say about it. It's very cool to see the Millennium Falcon in its prime before it becomes a hunk of space junk. And I just really love Lando so much. He's so funny. There's just this one scene where he's sitting alone in the Millennium Falcon waiting for everybody, and it's just hilarious. It's just such a Lando thing. I would love to see him singing at some point, maybe like singing to himself in the sequel. Donald Glover is a great singer and performer as Childish Gambino. It would be kind of funny to see that, I think. They were really cute, and I loved his outfits. Like there's a floral shirt he's wearing in a scene that is just, it's awesome. His costumes are so great. And there's a scene too where Kira is checking out his capes and trying them on, and I thought that was so funny. There's a lot of good, like this story is just not as dark as Rogue One or, you know, Last Jedi. There's a lot of humor. There are some sad parts and there's some darkness, but like you don't feel that the Empire is there. It's in the background. You see the Empire symbols. You see, you know, obviously Han is fighting with the Empire at one point, and there's stormtroopers all over the place. But there's just not that like heaviness and that sense of you know, like the rebellion isn't in this movie. There's no mention of "May the Force be with you" in this movie. There's no like Jedis or anything like that in this movie, which is really interesting and a departure in a way. I mean, Rogue One didn't have any Jedis, but you did have "May the Force be with you." You had the temple. You had, you know, "I am one with the Force." You had all that stuff going on. There's no Force in this movie, so it kind of just leaves that behind. And these are just regular old people, regular old criminals hanging out in this galaxy, and that's pretty cool. And like I said, there's definitely a lot of crime and things going on, but you just don't feel the force of the Empire out here, wherever they are in the Outer Rim or who knows where. So there's some darkness too, because the stuff going on in Kessel is pretty nasty, but it turns out really great and funny in a lot of ways. And that's what I'm gonna say. Like, this is a really good, like, caper, fun movie. Lots of great action, lots of great character building, introductions. The Han and Chewie meeting is just epic, and I thought they had really good chemistry together. I'm pretty sure there's gonna be another movie, at least a sequel. They set it up that way. It would be a pretty big, you know, disappointment if they didn't at this point. But I loved it. I loved the costumes, I loved the characters, I loved the spaciness of it, all the used universe feel, and the and Dryden Voss. I didn't even talk about him. What a cool character. He had like these cool scars on his face, and like as he got angrier, the scars got redder. And he lives in this really cool ship. It's like a real pointy thing. That was pretty cool. He has like his whole little casino going on there. And yeah, there's like so many cool characters and just so much going on. I just thought it was awesome, you guys. I'm really excited. I hope that we get another Solo movie soon. Good job, Ron Howard, taking over the movie. That was pretty awesome. So let me know, you guys, if you've seen Solo. Let me know what you think of it. Let me know what your favorite parts were. Who are your favorite characters? Try not to be spoilery, though. And yeah, I hope you'll hit that subscribe button. Especially if you love Star Wars. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Right, Pen? Penny's hanging out over here. And yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for being awesome. And may the Force be with you. Bye!